Sometimes it might feel like you're living in a race. You're expected so many different things from different directions. It feels like it's difficult to slow down. But I'm saying that you have the power to stop treating your life as a race. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. Hi, my name is Jaana. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about slow living and my cozy and creative life in the Finnish countryside. Right now the weather is exceptionally beautiful here in Finland. It's cold, about -20 today, and there's a lot of snow everywhere. So at the end of this video I will share a few knitting projects that I finished recently to keep myself warm. But first, let's go into the more general observations I had about this topic. Stop defining your worth based on outside recognition. The first thing that comes to mind when I said that it feels like life is a race is status and money. When I think about status symbols, I think about expensive cars, luxury handbags, things like that. And if you have been watching my videos, you probably know that I'm not the one to buy a luxury handbag or an expensive car. But the thing is that it goes so much deeper than just those obvious status symbols, at least in my opinion. Since I'm a writer, I have long ago accepted that I'm not in it for the money. Just making a decent living is enough for me. But there are other ways where seeking outside validation might creep in. These past weeks, I've been feeling kind of lonely and isolated because I wasn't busy. I had more free time. And it was great because I had time to plan what I want to do this year. I had more time to dedicate to my creative writing instead of doing work for clients. But somehow at the same time, there was this small voice inside me creeping in, starting to undermine what I'm doing, starting to belittle every accomplishment I had ever had. And I realized that it was closely connected to the fact that I wasn't having that much customer work assignments at the moment. And as a writer, you are constantly being valued and criticized by others. I published my first book last year, but I also write for magazines and customers, like I said. And you spend a lot of time pitching ideas for editors. And those are your creative ideas. You spend a lot of time coming up with those ideas. Maybe you put your soul into them. And then you get responses saying that this wasn't very original or that they're looking for something else. And even though I've been doing this for a long time, it still sometimes gets under my skin. Getting rejected all the time. Well, not all the time, obviously, because I do this for a living, but often in any case. And even though I've been trying to come up with this attitude that it doesn't bother me, knowing that that's part of the game if you want to be a writer, but still sometimes it makes you question your abilities. So the reason why I'm talking about this is that status isn't just about those luxury handbags. It's every moment you are looking for outside validation. You're looking for positive feedback from others to validate yourself so that you can believe in your own worth. And of course that's understandable. We are humans, we are social animals, and that means that connection with others and their acceptance is important. That's in our human nature. But when it comes to work and making money and creativity especially, you just can't let yourself be too affected by what everybody else says, or not necessarily even everybody, but what some people say about you or your work. So as a writer and creative, status might mean being praised by some gatekeepers. But you just have to learn to detach yourself from that. This is just one example, but I wanted to share it because I feel like becoming aware of your need to be validated by your colleagues, your peers, your family members or friends is the first step in becoming free. So when I notice that I have those feelings of needing validation from outside. I try to come back to what I want to feel like when I'm in a creative flow. I think about the moments when I'm writing and what it feels like to enjoy it. Picturing myself sitting at my desk, looking out the window, seeing how the snow falls, and feeling the joy of creating something. Because that's the reason why I do it. Not praise from someone else. Of course, that can be nice, but that's not the reason, the main reason why I do it. It's the joy, it's the feeling of things just clicking together and that I managed to say something that I wanted to say. Stop competition and envy. Another thing that makes me feel like we are living in a race is that we are put against each other to compete, even when no competition is necessary. It's probably true in every area of life nowadays, but I feel like when it comes to creativity, it's especially harmful. And I don't want to feel like I'm competing against others, because it doesn't make my work any better. It just makes me doubt myself. And I have decided that instead of envying others when they succeed, I clap for them. I try to learn from them. I try to think that if they can do it, I can do it too. I try to be inspired rather than defeated. And when I'm in a position that I notice that somebody else might envy me, I share my knowledge and my tips so that those who feel like they're behind me can learn from me. And I think that especially in creativity, but also in other areas of life, we should see each other as a community rather than competitors. Stop setting goals when they're unnecessary. I feel like we are encouraged to be intentional, set goals in every area of life. And I'm not sure if that's necessary, because sometimes you can just do things without even knowing the direction where you want to go. Sometimes it's more important to just start than know where you are actually heading. This is especially true for me in exercising. I'm the kind of person who doesn't get motivated by goals when it comes to exercise. I sometimes go running, but as soon as I start to think about how fast I'm going or how many kilometers I run or whatever, when it's something that can be measured, I lose my interest and my joy. I know that for some people this can be a big motivator. If they're training for a marathon, they have the motivation to go for a run more often, but that's not the case for me. And I think it's important to know this if you're like me, so that you can plan your hobbies and exercising accordingly. I have noticed that for me it's way more motivating to do yoga at home, because it's not about measuring, it's more about the fun of being able to learn a new asana, a new position in yoga. And you get the benefits. It develops your strength, your flexibility, but it's more like playing. It's not so goal-oriented. And that's something that suits me better. And the same thing also applies to my knitting. I've seen people make these Make 9 lists on Instagram and YouTube and whatever. And while that might be a great thing for someone else to do, I just don't think that I want to tie myself to some plan, because I want to go where my creativity leads me, and I might want to change my mind. So now let's get into the knitting section of this video. I finished this dicky recently because I felt like I needed something to keep my neck warm when I'm wearing a coat that has quite a deep V-neck. And this is something that I made especially for that. But now later I have noticed that it's really practical also with those kinds of winter coats that have a really tight, the neck is so tight that when you close the zipper, there's not too much room for a traditional scarf. So this is perfect for it. The pattern is by Drops Design. It's a free pattern, I will link it down in the description box. And the yarn, I used this merino yak yarn. For me, it's important when I make something to be used around my neck, it needs to be really soft. I'm not that sensitive to itchiness on my arms and other areas, but especially when it comes to my neck and head area, I just really can't wear anything that's scratchy. And this yarn definitely hits the mark. And I love the color. I will link the details of the color and the yarn down below. As I said, I bought this in a yarn in a Facebook D-stash group, so I didn't have the opportunity to touch the yarn before purchasing. I guess I just got lucky. And this is beige, which is like, it never really was my favorite color previously, but I have realized that I should wear more colors like this, that it actually suits me pretty well. These warm, dusty, soft colors like beige. Or maybe it's not like really beige, it's more like sand, I would say. In any case, I can highly recommend this yarn. Of course, I haven't really washed it yet. I blocked it, but that's it. But there's no pilling so far. It looks to be holding up pretty well. I think I made some slight modifications to this pattern, but I can't remember anymore because I didn't take notes. So I'm sorry about that. And then another project that I finished recently is this hat. This one doesn't really have a pattern. I just improvised it based on some previous projects that I had made. Well, I looked up some free beanie patterns online, but I didn't really follow any of them. I just, well, like I said, I improvised. I made this because I have doubts about mohair. I have never really knitted much with mohair, and at some point I thought I might be allergic because, well, after knitting for half an hour I just had this terrible itch on my hands and I definitely couldn't even finish the project. But then I avoided mohair for a long time, but then I started thinking that maybe it wasn't the mohair itself, maybe it was the brand. And I decided to give mohair another try. And in this one I'm using Isayer mohair, which is really soft when you touch it in the skein. And I also used Pilkolana Arwetta Classic as base yarn. And I chose the mohair from Isayer because I had heard people say that it's one of the softest mohairs and one of the most high quality brands when it comes to mohair. So now I'm kind of testing whether it suits me or not. I haven't really worn this that much yet, so I'm not having any immediate reactions, but I don't know if I were to wear this for a longer period of time, whether it would have some impact. But in any case, at the moment it feels really soft, a really good choice, because I would like to maybe use more fuzzy yarns in some of my projects. Not all of them. I feel like mohair has its time and place, but it's not like I want to make everything that I knit with 2 strands of yarn. First of all, because it makes everything really expensive. And, well, second, it just doesn't suit every pattern. But in any case, this color is also something that I wanted to try or investigate, because I have just noticed that I love this kind of old dusty rose color, and I also feel like it looks good on me. Let me show it. I think it's really nice, and well, now that I see if this is something that I can tolerate, I might want to make a sweater or a cardigan in the same color. I want to thank you all for your comments. I really appreciate them so much. They make me feel like we are a community. So please keep them coming. I'm always interested in hearing about your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Remember to take care of yourself. See you in the next video. Bye.